Namaskaram. My name is Vivekananda. Literally, it means wisdom and happiness. I believe in living a simple life. I believe in thinking differently. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. Through this YouTube channel, I aim to bring time tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, amplifying technology, nature, and yoga. My hope is to bring clarity to people who are in the so called West and are looking for some guidance. Now, even if you are in a different part of the world, you might still find my effort worthwhile because much of today's world is, as it is called, westernized. So, I shall cover 3 parts today. Why am I creating this video series? That's the first thing I'm going to answer. How each episode will be built and what I shall cover in the entire video series. But before we proceed further, let us all introduce ourselves. Now, I have already introduced myself at the very beginning, so it is time for my guests today to introduce themselves. I shall call out each of your names. Please unmute your microphones and introduce yourselves. I would like you to limit yourselves to 1 minute each, if possible, so that we have enough time to discuss our main topic today at length and in depth. So let us have a minute each. Here we go. I invite LowellAnn to start. Unmute yourself, please, and give us your elevator pitch, if you will.
I did try using the space bar, and it didn't work.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's supposed to work. Okay, so my name is LowellAnn, and I've spent my whole career helping people decide on what they should do. First through career counseling and then through coaching. Um, and today I'm enjoying my retirement from both of those things, spending my time discovering and studying how to support Canadian Indigenous people as we move toward reconciliation. So if you are interested, you can, I may start to post a few things about that on my website, which is workstylelifestyle.com.
Thank you, LowellAnn. Um,
Did you time it? I didn't time it.
no, it's okay. Now, Nidhi Akka, go ahead. You unmute yourself and
So I work in IT, like most Indians do, and I'm trying to now start a YouTube channel because when you work for someone else, you have to do what they want you to do. So I decided to do something that matters to me, and this YouTube channel will be about. It is called Science of Spirituality. And the reason I want it, because these days the world is divided into spiritual and scientific people, looks like, those who are scientific mostly will not want to acknowledge spirituality. And spiritual people will say that science does not tell everything, but I think they are linked. And through my channel, I want to show that it is, and hopefully some more people will get interested in spirituality if I am able to show the science of it. Thank you.
that's good. I did see your first video, and it's a very good first attempt. I must congratulate you on achieving that. It's a very good, lot of good things about editing. You have brought in so many elements. It's a fantastic first. For a first video, it is great. Okay.
Thank you.
So now that we know why and how people can reach you, as we have heard your elevator pitches, let us get to the main topic today. Why am I creating this video series? I find that the world is in an interesting situation where humans are very confused about what they should do. On one hand, we have great technological advances such as Chat GPT and Gemini, and there are lots more that are based using all the AI that is available. While on the other hand, humanity has been pursuing happiness without success. I think there are plenty of obvious indications that tell us we are on the wrong path. I feel humanity is on an unsuccessful pursuit of happiness while our planet Earth is being destroyed. That is not a good thing to do because we have only one planet where we can live so far. Personally, I think spirituality is completely different from religion. Whereas in the West, somehow they seem to um, club them together, merge them, and some of the Indian friends that I have, they also have somehow got the impression that spirituality and being religious is one and the same. It is not. So, just out of curiosity, I asked Google's AI tool, Bard, now called Gemini. I asked it a question. Do you see a connection between business and spirituality? I didn't ask question about religion and spirituality. I asked a question about business and spirituality. The answer I got from the artificial intelligence surprised me pleasantly. As far as I know, AI has no soul or life or spirit. But do we really know what these words, soul, life, or spirit, mean? My point is, we humans should let AI and machines do all the soulless jobs, while those of us with the souls do something better. Well, that gets us into spirituality. So, during this entire video series, I would like to explore spirituality. Try and establish a connection between business, life, and spirituality. Hopefully, I have sufficiently answered the why question. It's now time to explain how I want to build together each episode. Each episode will begin with our elevator pitches. I would give it 5 minutes altogether because I want to keep the whole each episode within an hour. So I'll introduce myself, and then each participant will have their uh, elevator pitches. Then I shall introduce the topic of the day, and then we proceed further. Actually, before the episode, I would prepare a presentation in the form of a video presented by myself. I would film this myself so that it is concise and precise. Filming it in advance allows me to add, modify, edit, or whatever is needed so that I don't waste your time. That's the whole point. I'll be playing such pre-recorded video so that we can all watch it together, a maximum of 15 minutes. So, why am I doing it this way? Because I don't want to be a monologue. I want it to be a discussion. So, I'll make a small presentation, and then we'll discuss what was presented. There can be questions, answers, clarifications, etc., etc. Probably 30 to 45 minutes, something like that. So that is the structure. So I have now explained the structure of an episode. It's now time for playing the pre-recorded video. I will play this video in a shared screen while I will remain silent on the side. I request my guests to mute themselves. I see them, they have muted themselves. Um, and uh, while the video plays, we shall unmute ourselves after this video ends. And okay, this is a video where I am reading the introduction to the book, Karma. So here we go. Hopefully you'll find it worthwhile to like this video. So let me take this opportunity to request you to hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever I upload a new video. Unraveling Karma, an introduction. It happened. On a certain day, Shankaran Pillai purchased a boat, a 40-foot ultra-luxurious yacht, for $10 million. He decided to take his new Puerto Rican bride out on the ocean for a romantic cruise. On the way, misfortune struck. The yacht hit a rock and was wrecked. As the brand new boat sank into the ocean, Shankaran Pillai and his wife managed to extricate themselves. They swam for their lives and finally made their way to the shores of a nearby islet. A sandy sliver of land floating in the middle of nowhere, completely devoid of vegetation. Shankaran Pillai and his wife had a few tins of canned food. They knew these would last them only a couple of days. They were in a fix. Unperturbed, Shankaran Pillai settled down in a yogic posture and assumed a serenely spiritual expression. His wife, however, was of a more volatile disposition. "We are marooned," she wept. "There is no habitation in sight, no sign of any life here, no animals, no plants, nothing. What will we live on? How will we get out? What a terrible end to our dreams of marital bliss! What a terrible end to our lives!" Shankaran Pillai continued to sit in his yogic posture, unruffled. His wife was bewildered. "How can you sit like this? Don't you realize we are doomed? Can't you see we are going to die?" Shankaran Pillai looked at her with calm compassion. "My dear, don't distress yourself," he said. "What I did not tell you before our wedding is that I have a history. I had previously availed myself of a student loan when I was studying in Tennessee. After my studies, I went to New York without repaying the loan. I was caught by my creditors 3 months later, but I managed to elude them and went away to California. There I got myself a car. Since I got myself a car loan, I said, why settle for a small car? I decided to get myself a Rolls Royce with pure gold trimmings, and I took a $2 million loan to purchase the vehicle. Since I thought life would be somewhat difficult for me there, I took the car to Oregon. But they followed me there too. After that episode, I took a home loan for $5 million. I then happened to go to Mexico, but they followed me there 6 months later. After that, as you know, I married you and I bought this yacht in Texas for $10 million. I haven't paid the first installment yet. So don't worry, stay calm, don't panic. They'll find us. They always do. Shankaran Pillai's faith that he would be found, or more accurately, his realization that he could never escape his creditors, is a phenomenon that the rest of the world knows by another name, karma, the inescapable basis of our lives, the mechanism that decrees that we cannot evade the consequences of our own actions, the cycle that appears to follow us grimly and inexorably wherever we go. Although the word is Indian in origin, karma is now a term that has invaded every dictionary. It is not merely the stuff of metaphysical tomes and academic treatises. It is instead a term that has pervaded lexicons across the world, from the esoteric to the pop. How did this Sanskrit term enter every single language in the world? How do we account for this extraordinary popularity, its capacity to endure across the centuries? There are many possible ways to explain this, but perhaps the primary explanation is just this. Karma is the only concept in the world that addresses human perplexity in the face of suffering. It is the only logic that explains the seeming arbitrariness of the world we live in. How else do we understand the pervasiveness of human anguish? How do we explain the horrors of war and terminal illness, the mute agony on the faces of starving children and traumatized prisoners, the unending catalogue of savagery and conflict that has been the human experience for as long as we can remember? Moreover, how do we answer these ancient questions? Why do terrible things happen to good people? Why does fortune so often favor those who seem cruel or unkind or the morally compromised? Why do life circumstances seem so random and capricious? Why does it feel sometimes that God, if one exists, must be playing marbles with the world? Why does the universe so often seem such a hostile, lawless, ungoverned place? Perhaps no other word answers that bewildered human why as well as karma does or can. For far too long, the word has been either grotesquely oversimplified or needlessly mystified. It is time to explore the concept more deeply. It is time to unpack the most overused, abused, and yet indispensable word in the spiritual vocabulary of the world. It is time to examine how karma is connected to some of the most vital areas of human inquiry, the meaning of life, and above all, how to live it. This book hopes to be both an explanation and a guide, offering the reader keys to living intelligently and joyfully in a challenging world. In the process, it seeks to restore the word karma to its original transformational potential. It hopes to peel off accretions of misunderstanding and look at karma in all its pristine power and with all its explosive resonance. So we have now watched the pre-recorded video and it is time for discussions. The introduction itself that I read raised a few questions. How did this Sanskrit term enter every single language in the world? Every single language. That's a very And how do we explain the horrors of war and terminal illness, the mute agony on the faces of starving children and traumatized prisoners, the unending catalogue of savagery and conflict that has been the human experience for as long as we can remember? Why do terrible things happen to good people? Why does fortune so often favor those who seem cruel or unkind or morally compromised? So I'll put these questions here on the screen. And yeah, we are just three of us, so we all can open our microphones and discuss. What do you think? Give me your ideas.
Well, these are not. I'll just start, LowellAnn, if that's okay. It's just because just I think these are very difficult questions for people like us who have a very limited perception of the world. We just know what we see, what we hear, or what we read. We don't really know how the world really operates. But I've heard Sadhguru talk about some of those things, and I can maybe say what he has said, maybe mostly just quoting him. So I was watching one of his talk with I don't remember the lady's name, but she's a Russian entrepreneur, and it's quite a recent video question and answer session that I watched. And the lady asked the same question that we have in like one of the questions that we have. How do we see that some of the most horrible people live the best lives and some of the best really good people, religious people, if you want to say that they are good people, religious, good, God-fearing people, they seem to have such horrible, impoverished, difficult lives. Well, what explains that? How does karma work there? So to that, Sadhguru answered to her that the outside world, the way it operates, is not how your inside world operates. So people who you think are good, and maybe they are good, but maybe they're just stupid. They just don't know how to live in the world or how to manage their outside situations. But internally, they might be joyful, blissful people. So I'm not quoting him word by word, obviously. I'm just saying what I remember or what I understood. And people who might be who you might see as bad people, they might be very good at manipulating outside situations, and and that's how the world works. The world works based on how you manipulate it or how you manage it, and so that's what he answered. But yeah, how do you explain children suffering and human dying, and I don't know how do you explain all that. Also, lifetimes. In India, we say that you did something bad in the previous life, or it's the karma coming from lifetimes, right? It's not just one life that we have. So yeah, there's something coming from the previous lives, right? So I think that those are my thoughts.
But much of the Western world, especially the Christian world, does not believe in rebirth. They say you have one life. That's it. Enjoy it. And at the end,
and follow the rules.
yes, follow the rules. And in the end, the God may grant you heaven, or he may throw
Enter the
you,
kingdom of heaven.
or
You got to have all that terminology, Vivek.
yes, go on.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be funny. Maybe it's not a funny issue, but well, the first question on your list there was, how did it enter all of the languages of the world? I was thinking back to when I first encountered that word a long time ago, and it came about as a result of my study of yoga, taking yoga programs and meditation, reading about meditation and learning about meditation. That's how I learned it. I don't remember it ever coming up in my lifetime up till that point. That doesn't mean it wasn't there. I just don't it doesn't, I don't remember it. But I have read since that many people interpret the word karma is what you get. This is if you do something wrong, then karma is going to punish you. The karma is the punishment. I have seen that interpretation many times. So it goes back to that. What I wrote down in while you were reading, we can't escape the consequences of our actions. So that seems to be what people believe. But going back to that question, how did that terminology come up everywhere? I think that and it doesn't matter where in the world or what spirituality or religion people have, everybody has that question. Why do good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people? That seems to come up every time. And so it's been a long time effort by all of those spiritual or religious groups to try to answer that question. And so I think that the word karma And certainly I always thought of karma as an Indian word, and that it was introduced into the Western world by all the yogis that have done the work and brought yoga and meditation and all of that to the Western world. So I've always thought that was a good thing they did. So, but why do good? I think we still all ask ourselves that question: why do good things happen and bad things happen? And some people would say it's just chance. Whatever happens, if you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, something would happen. I mean, I can think of lots of people that would explain it that way. On the other hand, I think that what's going on inside yourself would help to what's going on inside of me would help me to understand, and for me to define a lot of terminology for myself. What does a good thing? What does that mean? What are good things? What are bad things? And how, I mean, in terms of my own life, how do I manage what's going on inside, and the way I think, and my mindset, and the way I learn things? How much effort have I put into learning? For example, if I were to come down with a certain disease, I would likely spend a whole lot of time researching and trying to figure out why did that happen. But for the most part, unless it happens to me, I'm probably not going to research it unless out of a random curiosity. So I for myself, what goes on inside requires reflection and definition and study. So I don't know that I have the answer. I don't know that I will ever have the answer why do good things happen. Although if I explore my own life, if something occurs, I certainly would go inside and see if I could determine why it happened. But probably the why for me would be less important than what am I going to do about it. So I think that's long enough, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the question, the unending catalog of savagery and conflict that has been the human experience for as long as we can remember. Much of that is man-made. And savagery probably, some people believe that they are right and someone else is wrong, and so they are trying to eliminate or punish the people who are wrong. But this concept of right and wrong has been changing. Almost every, if not generation, every year it changes, and so the only thing that seems to be remaining is the savagery and conflict and all that. So Um, but I still don't have any answer at all for the question, why do terrible things happen to good people? And why does fortune so often favor those who seem cruel or unkind or morally compromised? Those are very hard questions to answer. Uh, Hopefully, the book has,
Maybe we'll find some answers in there.
at least some indications. But Sadhguru has himself said that he's not going to give you all answers. You have to find them yourself.
Yeah, you got to find them yourself. There's another explanation about that savagery and violence that actually somebody said to me not long ago. It's because we're animals. And if you look in the animal world, there's especially between depending on which animal you're talking about, but the males tend to fight each other in order to have the right to
mate with the
females. And so it becomes and in some species they really do themselves do each other in a very, very violent way. I always have a hard time accepting that explanation, because I feel as though humans, and yet it goes back to what in your introduction you talk about the soul. There's something about humans that makes us different from animals. And I'm not so sure I would use. I was asking myself, what is the meaning of soul? But we have to find some word to define that. So I think that does fine. But sometimes I hear, when within the human race, when that savagery shows up, you hear other people saying they're acting like animals. So
yeah. So what do you think, Nidhi Akka? What are your thoughts?
What do I think about this savagery? Why does savagery show up?
Yeah.
I think that's one aspect, and that we were animals, and like Sadhguru says, that the part of it has still stayed with us. For a human being, it's more important to evolve from those aspects, and because we can be conscious. And I think from my experience, and also from what I've read, not just experience, but from what I've heard, read, watched, that more a human being is troubled for some reason. They could be fearful. They could be fearful about anything. They could be angry, or these mostly fear. It's the fear that causes human beings to act aggressively or savagely, because it's not in our norm. If a human beings who are very happy, I could be wrong, but I think human beings who are very happy, they will probably not unsatisfied and not worried too much about their anything. They will probably not be the savage people that we are talking about. Savage people are the ones who are usually worried about something, fearful about something. And that fear could be something as trivial as, their egos, or, them looking less than in someone else. Or it could be as big as, providing food to their families. Fear could be of anything. But when this fear and worry comes in, that's where human beings start acting like
Mm.
animals. But when in the absence of fear and worry, I think we are okay.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It's the
Uh,
fear and worry probably that we need to tackle rather than the savagery.
yes, I agree. Uh, I think Sadhguru has also been saying, and in fact, he has been quoting the scientific studies and so on, and he has been saying the difference between chimpanzee and humans is very little. Uh, but there is a huge difference in terms of our ability to think and um, feel for someone else. That is, I mean,
Empathy.
empathy and so on. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, this very little difference in our DNA and so on actually account for such a lot of difference. So if humans evolve beyond what we are today and evolve a similar percentage more, that would definitely um, be a great thing. I would. That's my thinking. The because such a small difference in the DNA and so on makes such a big difference in terms of how we see other lives and how we see. But I would think that all of that does need being aware, being conscious, and
Mhm.
uh, being
Can I
aware of
just
the.
add here?
Yeah, yeah.
Can I just add that um, I don't think animals are such bad beings anyway, because animals will show aggression when there's a need for it,
Mm,
when there's a real need for it.
mm,
It could be mating, it could be food.
mm,
But animals will not show aggression, most of them at least. Maybe there will be a little bit of power tussle as well in animals. But those are the things. But other than that, actually, animals can be quite just fine.
mm.
They won't hunt if they're not hungry. Uh, you know, so yeah, LowellAnn, are you going to say something?
Yeah, go on, LowellAnn.
Well, I was going to say there are certain species that do exhibit empathy. Elephants
Yeah,
Mm,
exactly.
have been known
Yes,
to show empathy,
mm,
dogs.
and family values and all kinds of things. Um, certain even the killer whales in the ocean show empathy if one of their group dies or whatever. So I think there are some emotions that do show up in animals, but I think Nidhi is right. It's about fear of not surviving. Like if you need food,
mm.
or you
If
need
you feel
something.
threatened.
Yeah.
Mm,
So, but I was happy with that. You said you helped me with a definition or a meaning of soul. Consciousness is to me works better than the word soul.
mm.
I don't know if it works any better, it makes any difference to you, but it works better for me.
You were mentioning elephants and so on, and I kind of discovered that much of the Western world, sorry, it's a broad brush statement, thinks that cows don't have any feelings, or cows are stupid, or but they are quite intelligent. They have emotions. They have empathy. They can even have same feelings as human beings. I've seen that in my own life, where my grandparents had cows in the house
Mhm.
in India, of course. Cows are part of the family, so it's like
Mhm.
few generations of us would have drunk from the same, I mean, the
Yeah.
family of the cows. So, and we could see that when somebody is ill, or something has happened in the family, could see the emotions that are expressed by the cows. We could see
Mhm.
that they were shedding tears. My great grandma passed away, and we were visiting. I mean, because of the death in in our family. So at that time, I could see the cows were weeping. I could see tears in the eyes of the cows, um, because this old lady used to feed the cows and take care of the cows, and so
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
And the cows could feel the emotions, and yeah, that they
That's the first time I've ever heard that, but it doesn't surprise me.
yeah. And somehow, because I mentioned cows have feelings to one of my colleagues, and he started laughing. Cows don't have feelings. They are
I
stupid.
have the same experience actually. I have the same experience.
Really?
One of my colleagues found it quite funny that I said cows are very affectionate animals,
Mm,
and she actually she was not only surprised, she actually repeated those words to other people that he's saying that cows are affectionate. She was kind of, and that is actually true that people here don't want to believe that cows are very affectionate. They are.
mm,
Actually, I have heard that a cow would know if someone in the family dies,
mm,
but they're not in the house, they die outside of the house, and there's no way for the cow to know. You will see the cow weeping.
Mhm.
mm,
Cows are very intuitive as well, not just affectionate. There's the one I have thought about that incident as well. That why did she not want to think that cows are affectionate? And then I was, it stayed in my mind. And then I was listening to this guy, and he was talking about that he was mugged he was in New York, and he was mugged by a guy, like some homeless guy, whatever happened, and someone came and mugged him. And not only he gave his wallet to him because he wanted to not be attacked. So he gave his wallet himself. So he had the wallet, the guy who wanted to, the bad guy, whatever. So he had the wallet, but still he just kept verbally abusing him, like expletives, and there's that, and he took the wallet, and until he went away, he kind of kept abusing him. So he was
mm.
like, I was thinking, why did he keep? I gave him the wallet. Why did he keep abusing me? So he just kind of went into like, so he went and talked to a psychologist about it. That
Mm.
why did he keep abusing me? So he said, because everyone wants to think that they are good.
Mm.
Even if a bad person, or even if you've done whatever, you want to think you're good. So this guy who wanted to take his wallet, he wanted to think that he's good. And
Mm.
the reason he's taking his wallet is because now he has to project him as a bad person. Now, if someone is bad, now it justifies that you've taken
Yes,
someone's
I was going
money.
to say he has to find justification. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. So now he has done the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think that reasoning also goes for the cows. How would you justify eating an animal? You need to detach yourself emotionally. That's, otherwise you can't eat that animal. It's such an affectionate animal. Unless you detach yourself, how can you eat it?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. But it's my thinking.
Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think, I mean, those of us have decided not to eat meat at all. That's quite often one of the reasons. For me, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons that, whatever. But getting back to various other animals, I mean, I've certainly seen emotions in dogs and cats and so forth. I have a kind of an interesting story. I lived in Canada's Arctic for 20 years, and I had a Siberian Husky, which is an Eskimo type breed of dog. And that was a pet. But what was really interesting about that dog was he would be very aggressive with other dogs. And that made me nervous. But my son brought my first grandson for a visit, and I was really nervous about what was going to happen with this. He was a toddler at the time, and the surprising thing was the dog was really, really gentle with the child. And so I did a whole lot of research among friends and online and reading and so forth. And the explanation by the Inuit people, you maybe are more familiar with the word Eskimo, but they refer to themselves as Inuit, which means the people. They said that in early days, when they were living in igloos, and they used dog teams for transportation when they hunted and so forth, and they would often bring dogs, that at least one or two of the dogs, into the igloo to help keep the igloo warm. The more bodies there were in the igloo, it would warm the igloo. And so they said that if the dog was aggressive with anybody, they never got to stay in. And the dogs eventually learned. And sometimes if if a dog was aggressive with human beings, they would put that dog away. They would kill it. And so the dogs eventually maybe were that violence for humans was bred out of them in some way. So that was the explanation I got from the Inuit, that the husky dogs, most of them, are very, very gentle with babies, but not with other dogs. Anyway.
Okay.
I think that's correct explanation. I think I would believe that's true.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a combination of indigenous study and science and belief.
I am looking at the clock, and yes, we are. Okay. So I'm saying, to those watching on YouTube, You have been watching all this while, so please hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscription is free, so and hit the bell icon so that you can customize the notifications you get from my channel. So these are the 3 action items I would like you to do. So thank you for being with me today. Hope it has been helpful. So namaste, namaskaram. Until next week.
This was a very interesting discussion. I would have stayed, but I need to go to my child's parents' teacher meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Namaste.
If you are watching till here, you have found this video worthwhile. So, please hit the like button for this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever I upload a new video. Thank you.